Hello and welcome to Midgardian Workshop and Birchcraft. This is the second test. Working out some of the first bugs and spider webs on this equipment and trying to see how I feel in front of it. And I'm going to be working off some notes here, so just to kind of get to feeling better about how to do this and hopefully not look like too big a dummy, but obviously I can kind of tell from the screen there that I obviously have some lighting issues, but we're going to continue with this test anyway, and we'll just see how she goes. First thing I'd like to do is just give a shout out and a thanks to Bjorn Andreas Bohansen. He was one of the first people I started really watching on YouTube, and I appreciate his work and what he's done and what he does. Kimber Bushcraft is another one that I can appreciate the work that he does as well. Canadian Prepper is another fella that obviously has worked hard at what he's doing, and he does a real good job at this sort of thing. And all those guys and a few more have kind of helped with the push to start something like this. And my biggest reason for doing it is hopefully somebody can maybe learn how to do something a certain way, or find a way to start doing something. I'm by no means the master of anything. I've worked on a lot of different things over my life, and I do the best I can with what I got. I always have, mostly out of necessity, and usually the things that I want, I either couldn't buy it, couldn't find it, so I made it. I'm not a big one for going to town. I'll try and use up something if I can here at the place. I grew up farm, ranch kid, whatever. You just didn't go to town for stuff, so there's a tendency to verge on hoarding. Now some other I don't want to tie it just down to Western people, but folks that don't live in town, there's a tendency to keep a few things because, if it's not completely busted or destroyed, you might be able to use it or a piece of it. And so growing up with that kind of attitude, it is hard to not save everything and live in squalor, but that's kind of what I do. I'll save something and try to reuse it, and if I can't use it in a year, out it goes. But at least I try to recycle or reuse or whatever. I'm not doing it just for the recycle bug. I'm not like that. I just, like most guys, I hate throwing stuff away that I might be able to use again. So that's kind of going to be parts and pieces of what I do and what you'll see on the channel. I'm going to get a look here at the notes. It is a little bit uncomfortable in front of the camera in the beginning, and I'm sure that'll go away just like most things. I'm sure that, a lot of you folks that started your first channels or thinking about it, it's a little bit funny talking to yourself and thinking that you're talking to somebody that might care, and hopefully I am. And so, excuse me. I guess the biggest thing that even starts all this is I was getting pretty sick of TV. We're rural, so we don't have cable. We do have access to Dish or Direct or those satellite things, and And I was getting pretty angry with those things for the simple fact that every time we turn around, the bill's, creeping past 100 towards 200, and I watch 10 channels. And even, those 10, it was kind of crazy to find something any good to watch. And so a few years ago, I started watching YouTube because I'd much rather learn something than just sit there and drone in front of stupidity and idiotic gestures and somebody telling me what I think should be funny, etc. And so I started really in a preference to TV to watching YouTube. I mean, a lot of people have put out a lot of information and tried to help people. Some of them have also made a buck or two, and that's okay as well. So it kind of gave me the idea that, I think I build pretty decent stuff. I wanted to share it, and if it gets one person to build something, to take the time and put a little creativity or energy into something, and it makes you feel good, that's the point of all of it. I'm not looking to, become some big movie star or whatever. I don't care. I just, I'd like to help somebody if they can find something interesting in what I'm doing. I've always been more of a person that'd rather learn something if I'm going to sit down and spend the time and watch something, then I'd rather try and learn something intelligent, other than how to put makeups on or what beer I have to be drinking so I look good in the cool room. Yeah. I will be working on and with metal. We'll be working with wood. We'll be working with both. We'll be working on all kinds of things, projects of things I'm already currently building and things that I'd like to build and maybe haven't yet, haven't taken the time. Projects that you could do, or at least try if you have the inclination. We'll also be going out in the woods and doing some forestry bushcraft. Have some discussion, ideas, few projects, thoughts. Just a second, I'm sorry there. For me, the big pieces of what I do has been either I can't find what I want, nobody's selling it, or nobody's selling, something fairly close. If I can't buy it, then I'll just make it. And that's kind of been a premise of my life for a very long time. I don't have a machine shop. I don't, I do the best I can with hand tools, and, I've got a few power tools, air power tools, and, electric things like that. But really, if you're thinking I'm making a watch, then I'm not. And I mostly just hope that, maybe some of these things will, give an inspiration to somebody else to try and get their creative juices flowing, and who knows, that's kind of the big one for me. I do sell some of the things that I make, and it's always better to sell more, of course. I don't do mass production. I'm too old for all that. It's more important to me to try and spend that extra time making the best thing I can. Of course, I'm getting older, and it's not as easy to stay as steady, but you know, some of these things are still kind of neat, and and like I said, I just hope that if it even helps one person get creative and do something with their hands other than text on their cell phone, then that's a win to me. Um, I don't really have an order yet of what we're going to start. Like I said, in fact, this is the second test of trying to get comfortable in front of this thing and run it back and see how much of an idiot I look like. Obviously, I can see what's going on here, if I haven't already mentioned it once, is that the lighting is going to need some pretty big work. But we'll get to that, and hopefully the machine I'm using here, you can hear me well, and when I run it back, I'm not even sure that I'm going to use this or what have you. I just wanted to kind of put some thoughts down and get a few cobwebs off of trying to do this deal. And in the future, I'll try and stay consistent and give you guys things that are interest to you, and if not, then sorry for wasting your time. But we'll do the best we can for you. Again, thank you for joining us, and projects will be coming soon, and we'll see you again. Thanks.